Before I play any music, I should start today's show by giving you some tragic news. Reportedly, Rob Reiner, comedy star, director, and his wonderful musician wife has passed away. It apparently is foul play. There is a suspect in custody. It's believed to be their son, who has had some problems with addiction and mental health issues. I would like to take this time before I start the music Very well, we'll get a lot into that subject in a moment. Hello, Ironton Auditor. Good to see you.
Snow falling like overdue bills. Yeah. Lights flicker, wallets shiver, but we still here. December hit hard, like a slab from the rent tree. Looking at debt, but it's all that I spent. Kids want gifts, man, I wish I could bless them, but tariffs got the prices doing full flexing. Stores blast carols while they drain your soul. Every holiday deal got a hidden toll. Santa in the mall looking tired and bitter. Whisper, bro, I'm broke too, don't post it on Twitter. We light up the block, through the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Yeah. When the funds don't flow. Yeah. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow.
Hello, Daisy.
When the funds don't flow. Grandma knit a sweater with a hole in the sleeve. Said times are tough, baby, but we still believe. We nod like prophets in a budget cut, trying to stay warm off a sterno cup. Yeah, dinner looking thin, noodles maybe rice. Ham costs more than my car insurance price, but we sit at the table like kings of the night, turning struggle into stories, trying to meet the price. Cousin pulled a flexing in a brand new ride, but the rental sticker still stuck on sides. He said imports tax, what you want me to do? We dab him up anyway, we all broke too. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Yeah, when the funds don't flow. Yeah. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Hey, 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 the funds don't flow. Hey, hey. Auntie re-gifted candles from a decade back. Dust on her, we pretend we didn't notice that. We all fake shock like it's something elite, but the scent screams clearance aisle 2013. And online deals, man, they scamming for sport. Holiday sale just means the tariffs sort. I hit add to cart, then hit abort. My wallet's still empty like Trump Casino Resort, but the choir outside still sings in the cold. Voices cut through the dark like stories untold. Trees from a thrift shop, lights barely glow, but the vibe untaxed is something they can't control. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. When the funds don't flow. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow.
Some let me know the microphone wasn't very loud. That's just when the music's on.
holiday magic. Magic, magic.
Hello, my name is Zurzu Zyquin, and welcome to my channel. How's everybody doing? Now, I know that was a little bit weird of an intro song for today's topic, but I'm going to use that for any shows that I do prior to Christmas. By the way, happy holidays, everybody. And like I said, unfortunately, we lost a comedy director. And, you know, unfortunately, so when we lost Charlie Kirk, there were a lot of people, including myself, that used a few of Charlie Kirk's words, a few quotes from Charlie Kirk, and I don't think anybody was necessarily doing it in celebration. I believe the spirit was to point out how nonsense rhetoric is not helping society at all. And at least I can speak for myself. I wasn't celebrating any of it. I made comments before and after denouncing the actions. Unfortunately, Donald Trump has recently made some tweets, a tweet in particular, that I kind of take a little bit of offense to. Many people so far have taken offense to this. Now, we're going to read what should have been said. Let's see if I can try a Donald J. Trump. Nah, we won't do that. A very sad thing has happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle. Now, if that was all that he had said, it would be perfectly fine. There would be no problem with it whatsoever. But let me share for a moment what truly was said. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with the mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy, big capital words, by his raging obsession with President Trump, or with President Donald J. Trump. Why does he talk about himself as a secondary third person? Anyway, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age, America is upon us, perhaps never before. May Rob Michael rest in peace. Really? Really? That's what you say? That's what you say. You turn this into a thing about you somehow. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm not the only person who absolutely thinks this is an insane thing to say, but before I even start this, if this man had put out stuff about Charlie Kirk upon Charlie Kirk's death and whatnot, I could see maybe giving a little poke back if he had put out some horrible words against Charlie Kirk. But he didn't. As a matter of fact, I have some words from when he went on Piers Morgan.
indisputably a Hollywood legend. His string of smash hits in the 80s and 90s may have been the first and best example of what's now referred to as a generational run. He's written a new book on the iconic Spinal Tap called A Fine Line Between Clever and Stupid. Ironically, that's how many commentators feel when they're interpreting the words of President Trump, a man for whom Reiner famously has, well, very limited tolerance. And Rob Reiner joins me now. Rob, great to see you again. I don't think I've interviewed you probably for about 14 years when I was at CNN.
Is that how long it's been?
I know it's Rob Reiner, but I think Tom just corrected me and said that I said it wrong earlier.
As always,
I'm sorry.
You're making a lot of news. I watched with great interest your chat with Bill Maher on his podcast last week, which was really enjoyable, really interesting. But there was a moment in that, which I'll come to in a moment, relating to how the left and right can somehow bring it upon themselves to come together to deal with the obvious toxicity in public discourse in America. But first, I just want to ask you, when you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
I would imagine he was absolutely horrified, as I was. Why? Why would somebody take a life like that all for ideology? It's beyond my comprehension.
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, that the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful, and absolutely, she forgave his assassin. And I think that is admirable.
Rob Reiner is in.
Now, if you'd like, you could go on to Piers Morgan's and watch the rest of that broadcast. Pretty much they talked for quite some time about the Charlie Kirk incident and how horrible it was. And that's what I believe many people of the time, the sentiment of many people, including myself, is it was a horrific event. The reasons why people were using quotes from Charlie Kirk is he very clearly minimized certain things, I guess would be best to say, which kind of like, I think it was more to point out, like I said, that horrible arguments, horrible unneeded arguments, such as, relating children's deaths to car accidents, is not helping forward society at all. But, Donald Trump, he had a chance to, correct what he had said, and, maybe I said it out of haste, and, maybe I can reiterate it in a more understandable tone that I wasn't just bashing on a dead guy. Let's see if Trump does a very good job of that.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
Mr. President.
I mean, really, and I had myself muted. You double down on an argument. Well, first you have a chance to clarify your argument and not make it about some sort of political disagreement between you and that man. I think I closed this down. Let's pull this up. Now, I'm not the only first person that believes some of these statements are, like, not right. Some people within the Republican Party believe so also. Here's this guy, Jack. Oh yeah, he's making nonsensical statements and he's going to be, this was moments after the death. Now, 30 minutes after we found out about Rob's death, we then found out, or then, what do you call it? Musk had tweeted something about the left is the party of murder or something like that, which was just insane. And this is one of those said posts from the right. You won't see people on the right celebrating horrific murder of Rob Rainier and his wife compared to the left's reaction of Charlie Kirk's murder. I think technically this is a celebration right here of, ooh, look, now Rob Rainier died. We can rub it in their face. So we go on to the next post. Now this is from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mike, please. Reiner, sorry. I guess I keep saying his name wrong. But, Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you could do me one giant favor if you happen to see this. Please stop making sense. I really don't like liking the things that you say. It's really bad for my health. I'm not kidding you. Just stop it. Stop it. Go back to being the nutty lady that talked about frickin' Jewish space lasers. We're good. Anywho, she writes, Rob Reiner, I guess. Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning after the heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Many families deal with a family member with drug addiction and mental health issues. It's increasingly difficult and should be met with empathy, especially when it ends in murder. Beautiful statement. I mean, really, that's a beautiful statement. And of course, she posts Donald Trump's nonsense, which that's horrible for him to say. So we go on to Jake Tapper was told by Representative Don Bacon, regarding the president's Truth Social post about the Rainier murder. Reiner, I don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, being murdered, I expect to hear something like this from a drunk guy at a bar. Not the President of the United States. Can the President be presidential? He asked. And this is from a Republican. And then we have Mike Lawyer. Now, Mike Lawyer, he writes, this statement is wrong. Regardless of one political view, no one should be subject to violence, let alone at the hands of their own son. It is a horrible tragedy that should engender empathy and compassion from everyone in our country, period. And this is from Trump's old lawyer. A man and his wife were murdered last night. This is not the appropriate response. The right, unfortunately, condemned political and celebratory responses to Charlie Kirk's death. This is a horrible example from Trump, and surprising considering the two attempts on his own life, and should be condemned by everyone with any decency. And then we have Thomas Massey. regardless how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid. I challenge anyone to defend it. I really don't think there's anybody that can defend this statement. This is a very horrible statement made by the President of the United States, who he should have just, I mean, if he's going to comment like this, why comment at all? No, of course, he made some crazy claims about gas prices, and I guess somebody tried to correct me by 198 in South Texas. Well, that's not many places. People need to open up their ears. When people speak, they say words, and those words mean things. Many places means many places. Anywho, I'm about done with all of those I had to read off. I really didn't expect it to go so quickly. Do you guys have any opinions on? Do you think it was proper for him to post that? And you know, he was talking about these cartels. Or not cartels, caravans, that's right. He rambled on about caravans. I guess we could watch that if you want. He had a little press conference where he rambled on about caravans and how the caravans were smaller in number. How much smaller in number? You know what? Your caravan of people that were supposed to be coming in 2018 never freaking showed up. The caravans never showed up. These big bands of people. We saw them going from one country to another in South America. We didn't see them cross our border like that, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, we can have that argument you can make all day long if you wish, you know, but definitely the first statement fits. Kamala Harris isn't president right now, but and unfortunately we have J.D. Vance, and I don't really think pretty-eyed J.D. Vance is going to do any better. You know what I mean? He's about as dumb as a box of rocks that's empty. No, it's just craziness. Yeah, we'll watch a little bit of, well, I don't know, because I don't really want to ramble on too much. Yeah, we'll watch a little bit of it. Why not? Let's see this new press conference. Yeah, we'll go into 4K downloader. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, we'll see him babble on, and I'm not sure of the awards he's giving. We'll probably skip past that.
The couch is the one we get.
Oh, I got a Charlie Wilson coming up where the chick kind of burns him pretty good. She brings up his family, and some people would say that's not good to do, but he is the type of person that he kind of holds his family out there like a shield. He says, what's the perfect family supposed to be like, and what's the perfect marriage supposed to be like, and yada, 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 yada. But yet he doesn't follow that. I can't remember how long this is. It's not too long, I don't think.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We had a very good conversation 1 hour ago with the European leaders, many of them involving the war with Russia and Ukraine. We had a long discussion, and things are seemingly going well, but we've been saying that for a long time, and it's a difficult...
Well, yeah, I mean, but how many lies? Of course, every president tells a lie from here to there, it seems, but...
in
Every
Cambodia.
word
We
out
were
of
able
his
to
mouth
straighten
becomes a
that out.
lie at some point.
Some killing going on that shouldn't have happened. We appreciate them working to get it straightened out, and they have. The security protocols yesterday were amazing, and they have been amazing, having to do with Russia or in Ukraine. And I had a long talk with President Zelensky. Also, I spoke with the heads of Germany, Italy, NATO, Finland, France, United Kingdom, Poland, Norway, Denmark, and the Netherlands. We had very long and very good talks. And again, I think
Somebody should just put acetaminophen there on the
pretty well.
paper just as a joke.
7,000 soldiers were killed last month. Shouldn't happen. Should have never happened. Should have never started. That war should have never ever started. But it did, and we're trying to get it solved. That was Biden's situation. We're trying to.
That sucks. Where will I get my Canadian
I
bacon?
think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever. And we'll see what we can do. We want to save a lot of lives. We sell equipment to NATO. We don't spend any money, but we do want to see if we can save a lot of lives. When you're losing 25,000
Has Cardi Blanche
to
taken off?
30,000 soldiers, mostly soldiers, other people too, from towns and like places
Whoever's
like Kiev,
taking off, be good.
various other
Happy
places
holidays.
throughout Ukraine. It's pretty bad. Nobody's seen anything like it. Actually, since World War II,
Is my mic still low?
but we're getting closer. We're having tremendous support from European leaders. They want to get it ended also. And at this moment, Russia wants to get it. And the problem is they'll want to get it ended, and then all of a sudden they won't. And Ukraine will want to get it ended, and all of a sudden they won't.
That's because you want to give everything to Russia. You don't want to, you want to, everything that Russia wants, you want to go ahead and, yep, Ukraine, you have to agree to this in order to end this force that invaded your land. Does everybody forget that Russia was the little green men that supposedly weren't Russia, that were invading Ukraine, that ended up turning into Russia? Does everybody forget that?
So we have to get them on the same page, but I think that's working along. Very good talk. On day one of my administration, I signed an executive order making it core mission of the United States military to protect and defend their homeland. And today, we're here to honor our military men and women for their.
I mean, if we think about these tariffs, let's dive into these tariffs for just a second. Do you know Russia is the only country that hasn't faced threats of new tariffs? The only country in the world that hasn't faced any, zero, absolutely zero threat of new tariffs is Russia. They wanted to tariff my frickin' penguins. They wanted to tariff my penguins, guys.
Central role in the protection of our border, something that I campaigned very, very strongly on, and they made me look really good. They were unbelievable. They made us all look good. I mean, we went from having millions of people pouring over our border to having none in the last 8 months, none. In a few moments, we'll officially recognize their service by awarding them the Mexican Border Defense Medal, which is a big deal. We're joined for this occasion by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, Commander of U.S. Northern Command, General Gregory Gio, Commander of the Southern Border Task Force, Major General Scott Noman, Command Sergeant Major Brett Johnson of the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division, Administrator of the Drug Enforcement Agency, Terry Cole, and many other members of our administration who have done an incredible job on the
Yeah,
border.
but he tried to tariff my
Now that
penguins.
the border has been secure for
How are you going to tariff my
Actually,
penguins? You
7
going to
months.
take their fish?
more. They don't mention the border anymore. Nobody talks about the border. They talk about affordability, and we're the ones that are bringing the prices down.
I just had to
We're
go
the
there,
lowest
man.
inflation in our country's history, and we're bringing the prices down.
but the affordability is on the Democrats because they have made it unaffordable to be in this country, but we're bringing those prices down, and they're coming down quickly.
Anybody see
Energy
any
is coming way
prices coming
and
down?
If you look, gasoline prices are hitting in many locations $1.99.
Now pay attention to that. He said in many locations. So anybody coming up to me saying, oh, well, in Texas, in one little town, it's 198. That's not many locations. That's what I mean. People say words. Words mean things.
A gallon. Nobody thought they'd see that. There were $4, $5, and $6 a gallon under Biden. In the 4 years before I took office, our southern border was surrendered to criminals, drug cartels, human traffickers, and child smugglers. Our entire southwest border on the Mexican side is under the physical control of cartels that are among the most violent entities nobody's ever seen anywhere on the planet, the most violent people on the planet. Remember when the Democrats and others, the radical left, used to say that the people they're allowing into our country, immigrants, are nice people. They're not violent like our people. Well, they make our people look like babies. These are some of the most violent criminals anywhere on earth. From many countries, not just Venezuela. Venezuela emptied their jails into our country. But others have also. The Congo has. So many other countries have. And we don't put up with it. I have to say the drugs coming in by sea are down 94%. And we're trying to figure out who the other 6% are. But they're down 94%, and we're going to start hitting them on land, which is a lot easier to do, frankly.
That sounds like a threat of war. I mean, think about it. Another country's sovereign land, they're going to start enacting strikes on. So I guess like semi-trucks going down the road and pickup trucks going down the road would be what they're referencing, or maybe even buildings that they suspect are drug cartel. That is an act of war. They would argue that they're terrorists. Congress hasn't deemed them terrorists. At least not Venezuela. No, you're not really protected. At the moment you were talking about war crimes.
Are a direct military threat to the United States of America. They're trying to drug out our country. And you can look throughout history. Look at China when they were loaded up with drugs. They were suffering greatly, and others were able to take them over. And other countries also. They're trying to drug out our country, and we're reversing it
not
rapidly,
those
actually.
boats, no. Congress
I
did,
will talk with
whoops.
President Zelensky.
Whoops. Anywho, Congress did pass laws, but not to strike. The law that you're referring to gives clearance for the military to strike state actors that are acting in terrorist. Again, words are important. State actor is very clearly written in that law. That's how we ended up bombing the dude in the tunnel. That's how we ended up, there's several interactions we had where we used that. The terrorists were state actors. We have no proof that those people in those boats were state actors. And the cartels, they're often against the state of Venezuela. So they're not necessarily state actors. They're far from following even that law.
A direct military threat to the United States of America. They're trying to drug out our country. And you can look throughout history. Look at China when they were loaded up with drugs. They were suffering greatly, and others were able to take them over. And other countries also. They're trying to drug out our country, and we're reversing it rapidly, actually. But with the help of our great service members, we've stopped the invasion in its tracks, and we're dismantling the cartels very rapidly. And they are being declared enemies of the United States of America.
Apparently, a large number of elected officials and several judges think you're wrong, but that's cool.
They have been so declared, legally declared. More than 25,000 warriors have served in this historic operation. It is indeed an incredible and historic operation. And we've never done anything so effectively, and we've had a lot of victories. They've spent night and day enduring scorching hot and bitter cold, and they've given up their holidays and their weekends working with the officers of Customs and Border Protection. Our armed forces have already conducted nearly 13,000 patrols along the border, and today we give these great warriors the recognition that they have earned, and they have really earned it. The military component of our border security efforts is just the beginning. We're also designating the drug cartels as far.
And that's actually a good warning to make sure what you vote for isn't along party line, that you actually believe in what you're voting for. Because then you turn around looking like a hypocrite when you go against it later.
Foreign terrorist organizations, a big deal from a legal standpoint and military standpoint. We've ended catch and release. And
well, about the drug boat bombings, you know, we've taken care of this for decades, and we've typically we board the boats to find out if they have drugs, and if they have drugs, we seize the boat, and I guess we send the people back home. I'm not sure exactly what happens with those people, but I don't recall ever just destroying all the evidence, bombing the boats. Now, even if you call bombing the boats acceptable, how much do you know about these boat strikes? So do you know the information of the first boat that was struck and the 1 hour of time that our military sat there watching these people in the water, watching people that were shipwrecked? And instead of trying to instead of trying to rescue the people and collect the drugs that were supposedly above the water, an hour later, they decided to bomb them again. Since when? So if our enemies use that same logic against us, let's say they down an American fighter, or they down an American cargo plane, and they sit there and they watch them hanging out on the little wing of the cargo plane for an hour, and then they strike that wing to take out the survivors. Would you call that good? Would you call that good military warfare? We're talking about our American soldiers on American cargo plane that was hit, and then they waited 1 hour while they were trying to get help. Would this be something you approve? Or let's say it's a Navy vessel, and they end up crippling the Navy vessel. We'll go ahead and say there's 100 men on there, still alive. And they waited 1 hour. 1 hour to then sink that Navy vessel instead of moving in. You can't tell me that when they hit that little bitty boat, that there weren't vessels in the water within the area to have been able to save those people and recover the drugs. The goal is due process. Even outside of the United States, we want to make sure we hold our beliefs, no matter what shores we're over, no matter what waters we're over. We still want to hold our core beliefs. Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with releasing that video in its entirety. I don't think, the sad thing is everybody's used to a 1 minute clip, 2 minute clip. I don't think most people are willing to sit there for the entire hour and watch what went on. And I'm willing to bet you there was boats in the water just watching those people. Whatever they were doing, just watching those people. Now, from what I heard, it was the bow of the boat. This is what Congress has told me. It's at least in their congressional hearings. It was the bow of the boat. What bow of what boat can be used to transport what drugs? When we say the bow of the boat, there's no motors back there. There was nothing to push that darn boat. We should have saved them. That is the rule of the sea. That is maritime law. That is maritime law. When a ship is shipwrecked, you save them, regardless of your conflict with them.
Endured and ensured that anyone who sets foot across our border illegally is intercepted, arrested, and immediately deported, or if they're really
Yeah,
bad,
I'm
they're
sick
put
of
into
hearing about
prison because
Obama,
we
too.
don't want to ever take a chance to come back. As a result, illegal border crossings have plummeted to the lowest level ever recorded in the history of our country. Think of that. The history of our country. You can all be very proud. For the past 7 months, zero.
Oh yeah, spread some 50s across their bow. That used to stop them pretty good.
We inherited the worst
Spread a few
border
50s across their bow and watch them. They stop.
Because
they realize that boat's going down otherwise.
When they allowed
And then we board them.
25 million people to come
And we
in.
seize the drugs.
And again, many of these people are gang members and from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. And some of the worst people on earth they allowed to come into our country. We're getting a lot of them out. We've made a big dent.
See why I love Uncle Artie. He brings up great conversation.
But literally millions of people are self-deporting because they don't want to be captured. Once they're captured, they don't have the chance to self-deport. And they never have the chance to come back into our country. We inherited that border from an incompetent administration and turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. So we took the worst
Like
border in
another
the history
thing,
of our
he's
country.
been president. He's been president for, God, almost a year, right? I don't remember. Shit. It's like the Twilight Zone. I just wish it would go away. But anyway, he's been president for quite some time, and he's still talking about the prior administration. Now, every president spends a couple of weeks mentioning the prior administration. But go back and watch the presidents throughout history. They didn't just keep bashing on former American presidents.
And in a period of 2 months, we turned it into the strongest border in the history.
I'm going to
of our
have a
country.
cigarette real quick.
During this time, we've also achieved a 50% drop in the amount of fentanyl coming across the border, and China's working with us very closely in bringing down the number and the amount of fentanyl that's being shipped. You know, fentanyl is very bad when you mix it with certain ingredients, but it also is very important for medicine, for anesthesias, various other things. I want people to understand that. It's not made necessarily for bad. When it's mixed with certain things, it becomes bad. And that's what's taking place in Mexico. And we've got it down to a much lower number, not satisfactory, but it will be satisfactory soon. In May, we executed the largest fentanyl bust in the history of the U.S., seizing 3 million fentanyl pills all at one time. Think of that, 3 million pills. It's amounted to billions of dollars worth of drugs. And last month, we seized another 1.7 million fentanyl pills in the state of Colorado, the poorly run state of Colorado, with a governor who's incompetent. And frankly, with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from
Yeah, good thing I came
Venezuela
back
took
before I
over
went out
sections
for a
of
cigarette. We'll
Colorado.
leave that up there.
And he was afraid to do anything, but he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more. But there's no doubt that America's adversaries are trafficking fentanyl into the United States, in part because they want to kill Americans. If this were a war, that would be one of the worst wars. I believe they killed, over the last 5 or 6 years, per year, 200 to 300,000 people. You hear about 100,000, which is a lot of people, but the number's much higher than that. That's been proven. And they've destroyed a lot of families. Because when they lose a child, or even if their child is heavily addicted, you lose that family. The family will never be the same. That's why today I'm taking one more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. But before I sign the fentanyl order, we will pin these great service members with their medals. And here today are the first 13 warriors who will receive the Mexican Border Defense Medal, which is a big deal. First, I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth and Chairman Kane to say a few words. I'd like to have Tom Homan come up, please, if you would, say a few words. And I want to thank all of the people, Pam and everybody, Stephen Miller, great Stephen Miller, what a job he's doing, for being here. Thank you both, appreciate it very much. We have so many great people here. But I do want to ask Tom to say a few words also. So Pete, why don't you start it off, please? Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. I would echo what you said. This has been a team effort from the beginning. Tom Homan, Terry Cole, Stephen Miller, Pam Bondi, Christy Nome, Customs and Border Patrol, Protection. It has been one team, one mission to get 100% operational control of the southern border. You want to talk about America First, peace through strength and common sense? It all manifests in one basic phrase down there. Border security is national security. And we had the task of 100% control, and because of these men and women back here, we've achieved that. Nobody is crossing the southern border. And I want to give a big shout out to our Northern Commander, General Guillot. From day one, they said our department didn't look at the border this way before.
I don't want to hear
So
Hegseth.
Biden allowed an invasion of
Let's
this
skip
country.
past this nonsense. Let's get to the press. Yeah, they're gonna kiss ass for some awards and whatnot, and then we get to the press. Let's see. Thank you, sir, for letting me kiss ass so I can get this award,
Let me see.
or pin, or whatever.
I don't know. That looks pretty good. That means something
Smooch, smooch.
very special.
Hey, guys. Oh, you kissed the devil's ass for that award. What do you think about that?
Look at what you can do tied around your neck. Got a nice ribbon. I think you'll like it. It's special. We don't get into
You know, all that face paint he has, why doesn't he just paint his face up like the Truth Social post?
It's Come on over here.
I know, Uncle Artie, it was rude.
That's
I
four
do
sides up,
respect
big.
military men and women. I'm sorry. That was rude. They earned those medals, I know.
Hey, General, come on over here, even though you have one. I gave him one. No, this is General right here, General Raisin Cane. He's a great general. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor. This is a fantastic moment. Haven't done this before.
Yeah, I know about that too.
It's unthinkable what they left us with, that they would have open borders with millions of people, 25 million people, probably more than that, pouring into our border, totally unchecked and unvetted. Now we have the opposite. And we want people in our country, but they have to come in legally. And they know that, and they know they're not getting through, so now they don't even try. So all of the death that Tom Homan talked about, the rape and the death and all the problem doesn't really happen because the caravans, the name I think I came up with.
Caravans.
Maybe not. But the
Where
caravans,
did anybody ever see the
are very small.
caravans?
In fact, for the most part, they
I mean,
don't
I
even
saw
exist anymore
people
because they know they're not
moving
gonna
from
get
one place to another.
in a little while, you'll be seeing
Within
I'm suing the
their part of
BBC
the
for putting
continent.
words in my mouth, literally, they put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing
I don't
that
know what
lawsuit?
video he's talking about
Even
here.
the
The
media
BBC
can't believe
probably
that one. They
did put out some
actually
AI
put
crap about him.
terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words.
Yeah, I have no
Talking
clue
about
how Canadians
patriotism
are a
and all of
threat,
the good things that I said, they didn't say that.
except
They
maybe
put
for heart
terrible
disease from
words.
the
They actually had me
Canadian
speaking
bacon.
with words that I never said, and they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. That's called fake news.
Oh yeah,
So we'll be
the
filing that suit
caravans were
probably this
coming
afternoon
from
or tomorrow.
Venezuela
I wanna
into
thank all of you
parts
for being
of
here.
South
If you have any
America. Did
questions, I
we
guess you
ever
could ask,
really
but
see them?
This is really a day of celebration for
At
these
our
people.
border?
The job they've done is really unprecedented.
I mean, we
So
saw a
go
lot of
ahead.
people that were being turned away that have
Do you know what the
come
motive of the shooter was? Is it
under other
No,
administrations, but did we ever see
That's
true
moving along
where did
now.
you see true caravans
And
of
we don't. And
Mexicans
we'll,
crossing our
we'll
borders?
see what happens. Hopefully, they're gonna capture this
I didn't
animal.
see any.
Hopefully, they're gonna capture it.
Not in comparison to the videos that were shown of the standard
Well, it's always
immigrants that
been so far.
move
We've done a very
from
good job of
Venezuela to
doing it.
Mexico every year.
With Charlie, with, the various times this has happened, they've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that, because this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything, but you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in
Yeah, if I'm not
after
privy
the fact.
to the information
And,
because
the
of
FBI will do a good
classification,
job, but
then
They came in after the fact.
Do you know if it was targeted, Mr. President?
No, they don't know that yet, no.
Sir, on the issue of drugs, is it accurate that you are considering an executive order to reclassify marijuana as a controlled
We are
substance?
considering that, yeah,
Okay, are you planning?
because a lot of.
oh, the Canadian bacon, it's
people wanna
called
see it,
what?
The reclassification.
Peel mail
because it
bacon?
leads to tremendous amounts of research that can't be done unless you reclassify. So we are looking at that very strongly.
Mr. President,
Okay?
is it true that the reports that you reviewed?
Well, I mean, look on the bright side. It didn't call it
The
Canuckian.
reports that you reviewed to the Israeli Prime Minister for the hit on the Hamas general true? And is Israel undermining your efforts to be a peacemaker?
No, Israel and I have gotten along very well. My relationship with Bibi Netanyahu has been obviously a very good one. Look, we
Human
took out-
trafficking at the border is
Iran,
horrible, yes.
We wiped out
And,
with that plane
and
right there. We
there's
wiped out
no
the two bombers,
denying
we
that
wiped out
drugs
the
definitely cross
Iran
our
nuclear
southern
threat,
border.
and because of that,
And
we
some
were able to
drugs
make
cross our
peace in the
northern
Middle East. No,
border as
We've had a
well.
very good relationship.
But the
with
amount of drugs from the
Israel. We
northern
actually have a very
border
good
is minimal
relationship with just about everybody
compared
in
to the
Middle
amount of
East.
drugs from the southern border.
Ceasefire, the strike from the Hamas general?
We're gonna have to, we're looking into that.
Mr. President, on the Syria ambush of U.S.
Yeah.
forces, do you still?
Now on that, okay, he mentioned it real quick because the press, while I was talking, because the press brought it up. I'm about ready to end it here as I need to cook dinner. But I kind of also frown upon the press that this wasn't a interview on him about the death of the director. I think it was kind of just as bad as him bringing it up, and it was just as bad as the press to go after the sensational question. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to be ending this because I gotta cook dinner. I gotta also wash dishes. As always, you guys are awesome. Remember, you don't have to be wise. Just don't submit to stupid. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Needs to be a hashtag. Oh shucks, I forgot something, didn't I? Duh. Hey, remember you got some buttons here you gotta push? You gotta go like this.
Snow falling like overdue bills. Yeah. Lights flicker, wallets shiver, but we still here. December hit hard, like a slap from the rent tree. Looking at dead, but it's all that I spent. Kids want gifts, man, I wish I could bless them, but tariffs got the prices doing full flexing. Stores blast carols while they drain your soul. Every holiday deal got a hidden toll. Santa in the mall looking tired and bitter. Whisper, bro, I'm broke too, don't post it on Twitter. We light up the block, through the pockets stay cold. No
By the way,
money in
all the
bank,
bells
but
that you
spirit
hear in
won't
this
fold.
song,
Laugh when we
I
can't
added
keep the pain
afterwards.
on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Yeah. When the funds don't flow. Yeah. Yeah. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. When the funds don't flow. Grandma knit a sweater with a hole in the sleeve. Said times are tough, baby, but we still believe. We nod like prophets in a budget cut, trying to stay warm off a sterno cup. Yeah, dinner looking thin, noodles maybe rice. Ham costs more than my car insurance price, but we sit at the table like kings of the night, turning struggle into stories, trying to meet the price. Cousin pulled a flexing in a brand new ride, but the rental sticker still stuck on sides. He said imports tax, what you want me to do? We dab him up anyway, we all broke too. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Yeah, when the funds don't flow. Yeah. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas still hits even when the funds don't flow. Hey, 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 the funds don't flow. Hey, hey. Auntie regifted candles from a decade back. Dust on her, we pretend we didn't notice that. We all fake shock like it's something elite, but the scent screams clearance aisle 2013. And online deals, man, they scamming for sport. Holiday sale just means the tariff sort. I hit add to cart, then hit abort. My wallet's still empty like Trump Casino Resort, but the choir outside still sings in the cold. Voices cut through the dark like stories untold. Trees from a thrift shop, lights barely glow, but the vibe untaxed is something they can't control. We light up the block, though the pockets stay cold. No money in the bank, but the spirit won't fold. Laugh when we can't keep the pain on low. Christmas funds don't flow. When the funds don't flow. Cold world, warm hearts. That's the holiday